Ready for a deep dive that's a little different.
Oh, yeah.
We're blending ancient philosophy and modern leadership.
Okay.
We're going to see if a 13th century thinker's ideas can help your team move from stalled to stand out.
Interesting.
Basically, we're looking for leadership secrets
Right.
hidden in plain sight for centuries.
Yeah. And I have to say, the connections are
Yeah.
pretty surprising.
Yeah.
We're talking about Thomas Aquinas,
Okay.
a giant in philosophy,
Right.
but also someone who can teach us a lot about leading high-performing teams,
Right.
especially in the UX world.
You know, when I first heard about this, I thought, Aquinas,
Yeah.
isn't he the guy with the dense books I avoided in college?
Right.
But then I dove into the research by UX researcher Alessandro Zulberti.
Yeah.
He sees a direct link between Aquinas' theories and the energy within a team.
Yeah.
Fascinating stuff.
It is. Zulberti's work is key because he makes Aquinas practical.
Okay.
He takes these big, heady concepts
Right.
and shows how they apply to anyone leading a team, no matter the industry.
Okay, so for those who, like me, might need a refresher, what's the core idea from Aquinas that we need to grasp?
It boils down to this.
Yeah.
Aquinas was obsessed with the idea of motion,
Okay.
the forces that drive change and progress.
Mm-hmm.
He said, and this is a direct quote, "Nothing can move itself from potentiality to actuality except by something in a state of actuality."
Okay.
Translation: you need a driving force to make things happen.
Right.
For leaders, that force is your vision, your ability to motivate.
So it's not enough to just have a great idea. You need to be able to translate that idea into action.
Exactly. And not just your own action, but the collective action of your team.
Right.
This is where that transfer of energy comes into play.
It's like that physics demo with hot and cold stones. A hot one literally transfers heat until they're both the same temperature.
Right.
Is that the kind of transfer we're talking about here?
That's the perfect analogy. And just like that transfer of heat, Aquinas believed in a transfer of energy in leadership.
Okay.
A leader's passion, their drive to achieve the goal. It's contagious.
Yeah.
It spreads to the team, igniting action.
It's about a leader's enthusiasm sparking a chain reaction.
Yes.
Makes me think about those amazing bosses I've had. Weren't they the ones who were truly jazzed about the mission and, in turn, got you pumped to contribute?
Yeah, exactly. It's that infectious energy, that sense of purpose that trickles down.
Yeah.
And this is where Zulberti's background as a UX researcher adds another layer.
Because it's not just about getting everyone hyped.
Right.
It's about channeling that energy toward building something great for the user.
Yeah.
Something that solves their problem.
Right.
Makes their life easy.
Exactly.
Or just brings them joy.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And for a UX team, understanding user needs, motivations, why they do what they do, that's everything.
Right.
Just like Aquinas tried to understand the why behind how the universe works.
Okay.
UX teams have to uncover the why behind user behavior.
So we're talking about a shared quest for knowledge.
Yes. And the leader sets the tone for how important that quest is.
Right.
If they're passionate about uncovering those user needs, the team is going to be more energized about finding those answers too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like Aquinas' concept of motion is about more than just physical action.
Okay.
It's about setting the team in motion towards a shared understanding.
And just like with those hot and cold stones,
Right.
that energy from the leader is what starts to heat up the whole team.
I like that the stones as a visual.
Yeah.
It's about that initial spark creating a ripple effect.
Okay.
And this connects to another key idea from Aquinas that Zulberti brings up.
Okay.
He called it natural law.
Okay.
Essentially the belief that there are certain moral principles built into existence itself.
Okay, so not just getting things done.
Right. But getting them done right.
Exactly. Things like fairness,
Right.
justice, respect.
Yeah.
These weren't just rules to Aquinas,
Okay.
but fundamental principles woven into how the world works.
Yeah.
And how we should act as humans.
So how does that translate to leading a UX team specifically?
Think about it.
Okay.
If you're a leader who approaches everything with respect, respect for your team, respect for your users, that's going to be reflected in everything you create.
It's like that saying, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. You can be the most enthusiastic leader in the world, but if you're not operating ethically, if your heart's not in the right place, it's not going to result in something positive and long-lasting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
For UX, this means ethical design choices.
Right.
Responsible user research. Yeah. Being transparent about data. Use the whole package.
So it's not just about building a cool app. It's about building an app that's cool and considers its impact on the world and the people using it.
And that's where Zulberti finds that aha moment.
Okay.
He says leadership, when infused with Aquinas' principles, becomes about more than just hitting deadlines and shipping products.
Right.
It's about harnessing that energy, that shared drive for something truly beneficial.
Which is really interesting because when you think about Aquinas, a philosopher from the 1200s, you wouldn't necessarily connect him to the fast-paced world of tech and UX design. Right. Yet here we are.
It's remarkable, isn't it? These timeless questions he wrestled with.
Right.
How we create change. Yeah. How we lead with intention.
Right. Yeah.
They're still so relevant today, even in fields that didn't exist back then.
Right.
Zulberti helps us see those connections.
And I'm realizing it's like we've been talking about this transfer of energy as if it's only about enthusiasm, but it's also about transferring knowledge, wisdom, even those ethical frameworks from one person to another, from one generation to the next.
That's a powerful way to look at it.
Yeah.
And it speaks to the enduring impact of thinkers like Aquinas.
Right.
Their ideas resonate because they were grappling with these fundamental human experiences that we still deal with today.
It's true. But speaking of grappling, I do want to circle back to this idea of natural law for a second.
Okay.
It makes sense in theory.
Okay.
But the real world of leading a UX team can get messy.
Right.
It's not always crystal clear what the right thing to do is.
Right, yeah.
So how do we actually apply those principles in our day-to-day?
You're right. It's not always obvious.
Right.
And that's where Aquinas gets really interesting for leaders.
Okay.
It's not about having a rule book for every situation.
Right.
It's about creating a culture of asking the right questions.
So instead of saying, here's the answer, team, go forth.
Right.
It's more about saying, here's how we figure out the best path together ethically, thoughtfully, even if it's more challenging. Is that what you're getting at?
Exactly. It's about pausing and asking those tough questions as a team. What are the potential consequences of this design?
Right.
Are we being inclusive with this research?
Yeah.
Does this product actually reflect our company values?
Right.
These are questions Aquinas probably asked himself back in the day, too.
I love that instead of handing us all the answers, Aquinas is giving us a framework for working through those dilemmas.
Right.
And chances are, if you're facing a tough ethical decision in UX, it's not something you should be figuring out solo anyway.
You're hitting on a crucial point.
Yeah.
It's about shared responsibility.
Right.
The leader isn't the sole holder of ethical knowledge.
Right.
A great leader helps their team develop that moral compass themselves.
Which takes us back to that transfer energy idea.
Right.
It's not a one-way street.
Exactly.
The leader sets the tone, but they're also empowering their team to think for themselves, to raise concerns, to keep those ethical considerations top of mind.
And that creates a wonderful ripple effect.
Right.
When everyone on the team is thinking critically and ethically, the work is just better, more thoughtful, more impactful.
This whole motion thing, it's not a straight line, is it? It's more like that leader as dance partner, guiding the team, but also being adaptable, responsive, willing to course correct if something doesn't feel ethically right.
No, now that is an analogy Aquinas would appreciate.
Yeah.
He was all about understanding the nuance of motion of the universe.
Right.
It's not about rigid rules, but that constant reflection dialogue, being willing to adjust and improve.
We've covered so much ground today, from 13th century philosophy to modern leadership.
That's a lot, right?
It is all through the lens of building great UX. Who knew Aquinas had so much to say about designing apps and websites? It's
remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of these deep dives. You never know where those unexpected connections will pop up, leading to surprising insights.
So for you listening, we leave you with this. Aquinas was all about the why. What are your deepest motivations as a leader?
That's a great question.
And how can you ensure the energy you bring, that passion, that knowledge, those ethics, is truly benefiting your team and the products you're building? Something to think about as you lead with intention.
If Aquinas' ideas sparked something in you today, we encourage you to check out Alessandro Zulberti's work.
Yay.
His research was the catalyst for our conversation, blending philosophy and UX in a way that's both thought-provoking and actionable.
We'll be back next time with another deep dive exploring unexpected corners of knowledge and unearthing those hidden gems of insight that can help us all lead, create, and simply be better. Until then, keep asking those why questions and let that curiosity be your guide.